Good day, good afternoon, good evening. This is Twin Force Fusion, and today I'll be sharing a bunch of numbers and technical data. It's probably going to be dry for some of you, so if numbers is not your game, might as well stop the video now. But for those who are curious, what does a stock and slightly just small bolt-ons modification does to a 2.7 EcoBoost Ford Fusion? Well, stay here, you'll learn something. So I went to the dragway at Luskyville on the 5th May 2008. Temperature was about 20 to 23 degrees Celsius degrees, sorry, it's not in Fahrenheit. Humidex 52%. DDA was quite high, to my surprise, about 18 to 2,000 feet. Usually it's under 1,500. On very hot, humid days, obviously it gets higher. So it was a no prep track, and we had a somewhat wind that was playing against. It was coming to the right side of the car. So that's why. If you're on the right side of the track, usually you will get a better ET, but if you want miles per hour, the left lane was always better. So, for disclosure, the fuel that was on that car was Ultra 94 octane. I'll do a video one day about the Ron and Mon. It's actually more, it's 94.75 octane, but the advertise is at Ultra 94. I arrived at 3/4 tank and left about half. Estimate weight car was a 4450. If I count myself in it, but there was a few little items removed. Obviously, the tank was not full. The windshield washer tank was empty. The rear floor mattress or the WeatherTech rubber mats were off, and the passenger side also, and the engine cover was also outside. The rest, it was fully there. Tires pressure at 38 psi cold. I never play with it. It actually came like that, 38 psi. So I have to see if the car recommends less, but I didn't have no traction issue off the line. And my estimate power of the car was about 330 horsepower, 385 torque. If I count the fuel and the other little stuff. So before when I arrived, the first thing I did is put the fan on, because the track when I arrived there was no electricity because of the high winds we had the day before. But for about an hour or so I had the fan cooling the engine out, and I took all the modifications out. I took the Steeda spacer out, I took the K&N filter out, and I took the big mount out. The two first pass, I did one pass in each lane, and it was without no brake boost. Just I waited, the green light was on, and I would slightly go. I did 14, 13 the first pass, 14, 11, and the miles per hour, they're pretty similar. Okay, now it gets more serious. Then I did with brake boost. I waited about 20 minutes to cool down with the fan on top. Even if the engine was a little hotter than this test here, the brake boost does help. You shave at least 0.3, 0.4 second if you brake boost. And interesting, both passes the miles per hour was 100.00. And I have the themes here. See, 100 miles per hour, this one. And again, miles an hour, and all here you'll see, if you look at the left lane, that's where I was. The reaction time, fine, I don't care about that. You could see the 60 foot 2.01, and then the miles per hours, and the 1320, the time. So 30, that's why I have on the board. I'm not gonna put the how you call it, the 660 foot, basically the 1/8 of a mile. If somebody wants to have more information about it, could always do a video just about the 1/8 of a mile, because I know a lot of people do not have quarter-mile tracks, but a lot of them have 1/8 of a mile, and they want to know to compare to me and give them an idea what he will do on the quarter mile. So OEM, all factory, this is what I got. I probably could do better, but this is what I got. And I did all my brake boosts between 22 to 2500 RPM. And actually, I found if you go over that, because I previously tested on the road, you will have some front wheel spin if you brake too much boost. And the car starts to advance on itself. So I kept it on the safe side, 22 to 2500 RPM. So then comes, I put the K&N filter. Same thing, I arrive, put the fan on a good 20 minutes. Then I put the K&N filter, and paf, automatically I start getting better results. In miles an hour and in time. Again, I put R for the right lane, because the right lane, you usually get better ETs, but lower miles per hour. It's just the way the track is designed there. And that's what makes special about the Louisville Dragway. If you're fast at that track, you're fast everywhere in the world, because it's the conditions are a little harder, and the incline is about +1 some degrees incline. Even the meet the NHRA specs, it's still you'll run faster elsewhere in the world. So as you can see, I gained just with the K&N about 0.075 seconds and 0.44 miles per hour, and the 60-foot 0.045 second. So that's not bad just for a K&N filter. And like I said in the previous video, the factory air filter has only 330 CFM, and the engine needs plus 580. So the K&N has 524, AFE has 601. Then while the K&N there, I again stopped 20-30 minutes, put the fan on. Then I installed the Velasa Big Mount, and gains again. As you can see, 13.693 was my best one compared to 705 before. And interesting, the miles per hour were not higher, but unfortunately the left lane was always occupied, so I used the right lane. So, but if you compare right lane to right lane, the miles per hour, 9.16, and if you look here, I increased to 99.99. So gains right lane versus right lane only, 0.0023 seconds versus the K&N only, 60 foot also one. So it gives you an idea. But the ET is quite interesting now, getting good territories. Okay, then the same thing, cool down, fan, and this gets interesting, K&N plus Big Mouth plus Theta TB spacer. And obviously I got used to more with the car, but I always use the same technique, brake, bring the RPMs about between 22 to 25, and when the light goes green or just before, let go the brake and stomp on that pedal. You'll feel a slight front wheel spin, but it takes off like a bullet. So my best CT of the evening, you can see it's on top there, 13.547. And on this pass, it was actually my best 60 footer too, 1.857. And the best miles per hour, it's on this pass here, I did a 101.11. So I'm very happy with this. And the TB spacer, if I compare to the two previous little mods I did, it's unbelievable. If you look at it, it made me gain 0.145 plus 1.12 and 0.043. And people have a hard time to understand that. And I mentioned on the video, I said do not underestimate small mods. The intakes on these cars are very small, the top intake especially. And by experience with my Impala was the same thing. When I had the intake spacer and the throttle body spacer, I gained double-digit wheel horsepower, and so it does work. And one day I want to bring this to the dyno, and I will test them the same way I test at the track, and see exactly where those numbers are coming from. But so far I'm very happy with all these mods. In total I gain like a 0.233 second quarter mile, I plus 1.11 miles per hour if I compare to the OEM. But again, don't forget the OEM with 13.8, so it gets a chance to build speed, and the footer actually increased, so it's not bad. And because it was a no trek prep day, I also, just to show you an example, you could run what power versus torque does. If I compare the Impala has more power, about 50 horsepower more, but he has about 80 to maybe 90 pound-feet of torque less. And what it does, if you look here, and this, by the way, we're all done on the left lane because it was a no prep day, so my car won't hook up. And you could literally see it on my 60 footers. You see 2.1, 2.3, 2.2 compared to 1.8, 1.9. So the Fusion does take off like crazy. And my best ET for that night was 13.6, but look at the miles an hour. You see 106.84. It's almost my best. My best one was 106.91 at the quarter mile. And I was hoping to crack the 107, but it did not happen that night. And so yeah, that's what horsepower does. Will get you the speed, but the torque will get you across the line before. So I hope you find this video interesting for those who are into this. I'm still waiting for my Livernois Motorsport Tune. I was hoping it would arrive yesterday, but hopefully it'll be there tonight, so I could plug it in, get the strategy code and stuff like that, mail it back to them, and so on and so on. So for those who want to know, I didn't check about the how you call it, the 1/8 of a mile, but on my best pass here on the 547 I have here, it says 8.615 at 79.77. I don't know if it's my best one, but just looking at it, let me just check another one. This one, it says 8.711 at 79.35. Anyway, so if somebody's really interested, just let me know, and I'll answer to you, and I'll go through my flimsies and see which one is the best 1/8 of a mile. So video is getting too long, so I hope you enjoyed this, and cheers. Bye.